Good evening to you viewers. Welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television, where we're broadcasting live from the nation's economic capital, Douala. I am Innocent Aze. In our major stories, 31 bodies have been retrieved from their incident site at the Mobile Guinness Douala 5 subdivision, and 21 persons injured have been hospitalized. These are figures from the collapse of a 4-floor story building on Sunday as a result of heavy rainfall. In this edition of the newscast, our reporter who was at the incident site till dawn will be revealing to you the story behind that story building that collapsed. Also, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Cortez, was in Douala today to visit the incident site to take stock of the situation. She also extended heartfelt condolences of government authorities to the bereaved families. Our major stories. Good evening once more. You welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television. Now, we told you in our list story that the death toll of the building that collapsed at the Mobile Guinness neighborhoods in the Douala 5 subdivision has increased to at least 33. 21 persons who were injured have been hospitalized in different hospitals here in the economic capital city. A reporter who was at the incident scene till dawn came back with the following reports and also knows that such operation is still underway.
Even in the depths of the night, locals of Mobile Guinness stayed awake, watched helplessly how lifeless bodies of their relations or neighbors were taken out of the collapsed building. As rescue missions carried on with the search, the death toll continues to rise. A lady of about 60, when we met at the scene, shed tears for her brother, who died alongside 3 other family members.
Mon petit frère, il est professeur. Il était à Gaoundéré. Il est venu rejoindre sa femme.
My younger brother, he was a teacher. He came to meet the wife who was defending at Ensed. He was in the house with the wife, his son and his sister-in-law. All the 4 died.
Oui, il est mort avec sa femme et son fils et sa belle-sœur aussi.
Another young man laments over the death of his only younger brother, with whom he was connected on WhatsApp few minutes before the unfortunate incident.
C'est sur le forum que nous avons eu la nouvelle.
It was in the family forum that we got the sad news. He came back at about 11 p.m. and at 19 minutes past midnight, he was still connected shortly before the building collapsed.
À minuit 19, il était encore connecté. La dernière connexion était à minuit 19.
It was a difficult task for both the rescue team and family members to know exactly the number of people trapped in the debris.
Après avoir fait les recherches en journée dans les différents hôpitaux,
we moved from one hospital to the other but didn't find him, so we concluded that he should be among those still under the debris. His corpse was retrieved at about 8 p.m.
eu la triste nouvelle parce qu'on a sorti le corps tout à l'heure il n'y a pas longtemps.
Latest reports put the number of deaths at 33, with over 20 people wounded. It all happened after the 4-story building collapsed at Mobile Guinness in Douala. The incident has been attributed to poor quality building materials and also heavy rains which has been pouring across most cities in Cameroon lately.
And our reporter Anna Bila goes on to give us this mystery behind this story building, the 4-floor story building that collapsed on Sunday. She tells us more about it.
4-story building which collapsed had been very controversial around Mobile Guinness. Reason, it had been baptized the building of death. The structure had been standing for over 10 years now in a risk zone or marshy area. Some technicians who had carried out repair works on the said building affirmed that the structure was seriously depreciating already.
On m'a appelé qu'il vient voir comment il peut faire pour modifier pour que ça tienne un peu plus longtemps. Je suis arrivé, j'ai vu derrière les poteaux étaient déjà en train de se casser, tout était rouillé.
Whenever it rains, neighbors say everywhere on the ground floor was inundated as water oozed from the floor.
Donc quand il pleuvait comme ça, les eaux descendaient à la sous-sol, stagnaient là-bas. Et c'est pas bien pour la fondation d'abord.
He wasn't surprised to hear the building had collapsed since there were already some warning signs.
Après, aujourd'hui, là, il reste, il m'appelle, il dit, mais l'immeuble est tombé. Il lui a dit qu'il t'avait dit quoi? Il t'avait demandé de quitter l'immeuble depuis.
We also got information that the owner of the building before his demise about 2 years ago had given instructions for all occupants to quit and give way for repair works. Nothing was done until the unfortunate incident which took away the lives of over 30 people, including the actual landlord. Security forces have opened up investigations on what actually caused the collapse of the 4-story building in Douala.
And after that incident, our reporter A.C. Lucia Liengu visited Bikibo 1 and Sodzikombo, which were identified by government authorities as risk zones. You say some houses have been abandoned while people still live in some. Her report.
On an aerial photograph, one can think most of these houses constructed are on solid foundations. But on a close look, some of these buildings are suspended with risks of collapsing. We are at Bikibo 1 in the Douala Tiwi subdivision. Locals assert that some areas within the neighborhood had been identified by authorities as risk zones.
Le gouvernement était venu sur l'aviation pour ce problème-là.
This is as a result of its topography, which composes of hills and valleys. Over the years, this has caused most houses constructed on these areas to crack or collapse.
Et apparemment, la colline avec la maison en étage s'est effondrée.
The situation is worst during the rainy season, which comes with strong winds and heavy rains.
Pour le moment même, parfois, quand il pleut violemment la nuit, on ne peut même pas dormir, on a peur que le même accident peut produire.
Many in Bikibo 1 neighborhood have abandoned their houses to seek refuge in safer areas. Like in Bikibo 1, Sodzikombo, a locality in the Douala 5 subdivision, is equally a call for concern.
À l'époque, c'était la route. C'était la route en 92.
This woman says in the yesteryears there was a road in this area, but as time went on, it cracked.
Qui passait de la route du goudron.
From a minor crater to a larger one, creating a ravine.
Ça grandissait jusqu'à nos jours, comme vous voyez là.
Today, houses around the ravine are now suspended. The fear it will one day collapse. The inhabitants of this locality live in fear and uncertainty because most houses are found on risk zones.
And many people have been questioning the quality of materials sold in the Cameroonian markets, notably construction equipment. And they say the quality most often are of poor quality. And contractors rather go for them, reason why most houses collapse in the economic capital city and other localities across Cameroon. Our reporter Cedric Chakunte spoke with a civil engineer and compiled this report.
Construction material of low quality is more and more present in Cameroonian market. The alert was made by a civil society actor who advocates for consumer rights and consumer protections.
Suite à l'alerte donnée par un site d'information de renommée nationale et internationale,
it is due to an alert given by an information organ that we could trace these enterprises doing fraud.
Se fait hors norme, se fait qui est non conforme.
It is the same enterprise that was summoned to stop this selling through a note signed on the 22nd of March.
Un communiqué qui avait été signé le 22 mars.
Casualties such as the collapse of buildings are recorded. A case in point, is what happened during the weekend at Mobile Guinness Douala.
Et le fer ici, c'est le squelette même du béton armé parce que
iron here is the most important material of a building because without it, the building might collapse. And so,
de traction dans le béton pour pouvoir, n'est-ce pas, résister à toutes les charges de superstructure le sollicitant.
Making use of this construction iron rod is putting the lives of locals at risk. For it to last longer, and it's very important to have a good iron.
De respecter toutes les normes de fabrication afin qu'on puisse, n'est-ce pas, avoir des bâtiments solides qui résistent, n'est-ce pas, dans le temps et dans la durée.
Civil society actors are calling on the authorities concerned to check the consumption of poor quality construction materials in Cameroon markets.
I told you earlier at the start of this newscast that the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Cortez, after the incident early Sunday, visited the economic capital city, Douala. Today, she visited the Mobile Guinness neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision, where the 4-floor-story building collapsed and killed over 30 people and injuring 21 who have been hospitalized. She was there to take stock of the situation. She was accompanied by local administrative authorities, and she extended the heartfelt condolences of the government to the deceased or families of the deceased. We have more in the following excerpt.
Very happy to be here this morning and very sorry to see what happened to our population due to non-observation